my creative friends, welcome back to my channel, the Crafty Homebody. I'm so glad that you're here. Today I thought I would take a break from working in my December daily and show one of my Christmas DIYs. I have never done anything like this on my crafty channel here. I usually strictly stick with my journaling and like coloring, like paper kind of crafting. But I thought I would throw this video out and see if you guys like this, because if you like crafty DIYs, I can throw some of these in here in the mix as well. But I actually was sent this video by a friend, and what it details is taking an egg carton and essentially turning it into an adorable Christmas mushroom garland. I had to think about the word for a minute there. Yeah, it's a really cute mushroom garland. Unless you follow me over on my main channel, Just Missy, you may not know I'm obsessed with mushrooms. My gallery raw that is actually in my office where I film all of this is all decked out in mushrooms and all kinds of like nature-esque kind of things. And the room is filled with plants, and I love the whole nature vibe thing. So they thought this was really cute. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, I have to try to recreate this. So this is my attempt to recreate the mushroom garland for Christmas. So essentially you just take the egg carton and you're going to cut out the little cups that the eggs sit in, and then the two pointy ones that stick up for like a different kind of style of mushroom. And as you can see, it kind of looks like a mushroom cap. So you're going to cut all of them out. And then you can see I have sitting beside me some red paint and white paint. I picked those up, like I always say, from good old Dollar Tree. I'm just going to put some of that red paint right on this tissue paper that I have sitting here, and I'm going to paint our mushroom caps. And then I kept the top of the egg carton so that as I paint these little caps, I'm going to put them in the egg carton to like dry. It's really simple. I'm just painting these little caps and I'm going to stick them in that egg carton and we're going to let them dry. So while those are drying, the original video that they had sent me for inspiration, they used actual little pieces of like twigs to make the stem for the mushroom. I don't have such things. I mean, I guess I could have went outside and like foraged for sticks, but I am an avid Dollar Tree shopper and I have Dollar Tree popsicle sticks. So I thought to make them look a little bit more rustic, and they're quite long, I would snap them in half, and I took a little bit of white paint, a little bit of black paint, and just a tad of yellow and mixed it together to give it like a gray, tan, brownish color. And then I painted the popsicle sticks, and in turn, those are going to turn into the stems for the mushrooms. But like I said, the original one that I saw, she used what looked like twigs, like she went out and foraged for twigs, which was absolutely adorable. But you're going to see the popsicle sticks work just as good. Then I'm going to take a little bit more of the white paint, put a little bit down, and take the other end of my paintbrush, which is rounded, and I'm going to add all of the white dots that you see on adorable mushrooms. This is such a cute, easy project. And I actually use these mushrooms because as I was sitting here doing all this, I was like, wow, on my shelf, I could add these little mushrooms here, and I can add them there, and I can do this and I can do that. You're going to see at the very end. And you're not going to see it in this video, but if you do follow me over on my main channel, I do put this together on the shelf that I am creating these for. But after I got the shelf, one of my other, I call them lovies on my main channel, texted me and she's like, you should throw gnomes in with all of this because gnomes go so well with mushrooms. And I remembered that I have Christmas gnome thing. So after I put all this together, I went in and got gnomes. So if you're interested in seeing like the updated version, you got to check it out over on my main channel. But I thought, well, while all of those are drying, I am simply just going to take some Christmas cardstock and I'm going to cut them and I'm going to make paper chains. This is something that I think everybody knows how to do. I don't think I have to spend a ton of time explaining this, but I'm also making this for decor for my office. I have two very large windows. That's why I film in this room, because the sunlight that comes in, I get lots of natural light. And of course, over there, being the plant lover that I am, I have a ton of plants over there. So I'm making this paper chain actually to hang as a Christmas decor over like where my plants are at. So again, all of that will be shown on the video where I actually decorate for Christmas in my office. But this is all like the prep for the homemade things that I'm making for decorating my office for Christmas. But I think making paper chains is, very self-explanatory. You just cut paper. It can be plain. You can have painted the paper. I've seen people take butcher paper and they lay it out, and then they take cookie cutters and they dip the cookie cutters in paint and then put it all over the butcher paper, and then they cut it into strips and make paper chains. I'm just using good old cardstock that, it's Christmas style, and I'm just using a staple. Super simple. You could use glue, but I think stapling, it just goes so much faster. And I'm putting together this little paper chain that I'm going to hang over by my plants. This is how I just filled the time while our little mushroom caps over there are drying. And look how cute they look. So the next tool that you will need is some hot glue. I'm just going to put a dab of hot glue right in the center. And then I'm going to take our popsicle stick that I painted and put it right there. I have to hold it there for a few seconds, until the hot glue hardens, but it works perfect. They look like mushrooms to me. And I liked that I broke the popsicle stick. It makes it look more rustic in my personal opinion. And then I'm just going to take some twine. You can use baker's twine. You can use any kind of twine. Yarn, even if you have yarn will work. And I had some Christmas plants, again, Christmas floral from the Dollar Tree. And I cut some of like the sprucey looking sprigs and one of the sprigs off that kind of had like little white flowers on it. I thought it would pop like the little white specks on our mushrooms. And I'm actually going to like glue a mushroom and then like a sprig, and then like maybe glue two mushrooms and then like a little sprig of floral. And I also had some beads just in my stash, and I painted them with the same red just to add at the end. So I have two beads at the end, and then all I'm going to do is then take a mushroom cap and add a little bit of glue at the top, and then lay the twine over it. And I use the end of the paintbrush to kind of just like push it down, give it a couple seconds to dry, and then I tie on one of those little sprigs. And I'm telling you, this made the cutest gosh darn garland, whatever you want to call this, that I've ever seen. I absolutely loved it. And these are perfect. These are perfect. They really do look like mushrooms. I just adored these. So I'm going to let you watch me put these together, and then I'm going to pop in here in a few seconds and explain what else I'm doing with these. So I remembered I had this little pot that I sit on my shelves, and I'm like, I'll take some moss and I will glue one of my little mushroom caps into this little flower pot and use some of those leftover sprigs and just bring this to life. And then I'll set this somewhere on that same shelf that I'm going to be adding the mushroom garland to bring a little bit of that mushroom vibe up in throughout the shelves. And then I also have a beautiful apothecary jar. This is it right here. And I took out the frog that I had in there, excuse me, for spring. I left the little succulent in there and the moss. And then I take 2 of our little mushrooms that we made, and I'm going to stick them in the apothecary jar and add a little bit of the sprigs that I also used in the garland to like pull all of the mushrooms and the same kind of floral throughout the shelf. Once I get the shelf decorated, and I talked to a specific lovey who said add the gnomes, I'm like, the gnomes are going to make it. The gnomes, like I said, are not going to be featured in this little portion. I'm going to show you at the end what all it looks like. But I do find my gnome decor, my gnome Christmas decor, and do add it to the shelf. And, you know, mushrooms and gnomes, they go hand in hand, right? But look what else I did with these little mushroom caps that I made from an egg carton. Look at them. They look adorable in this little apothecary jar and in my little flower pot. I just think it's so cute. So I took some baker's twine and I just made a little bow, a red and white bow on my apothecary jar. And then I did put a little red bow as well on that little froggy guy that I pulled out, because I love all that stuff, all that naturey stuff. And I just spruced it up with a little bit of, of a bow, and it looks quote unquote Christmassy to me. And then I add all this back to the shelf, which you're going to see here in a moment. Oh gosh, do I think this looks adorable. I absolutely love how this came out. I just love, 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 love this. And like I said, I went in and found some gnomes and threw them throughout too. So that really brought it all together. But this looks so stinking cute. And there's my little froggy guy and the little planter with the mushrooms sticking out. So cute. And I did switch out this yellow pot. Those are all live plants, by the way. But I did switch out that yellow pot for a green one, and like, so I brought in different colors. But I love the garland. And then I added some fairy twinkle lights that I also picked up from the Dollar Tree for $1.25. They're battery operated. They look so cute there. I might see if I can pick up some poinsettias or something. Like, I want to do more to the shelf, but just to show you the garland, look how cute. I want to make more and hang them everywhere. I was thinking about making more and hanging them over my cocoa hutch, but I don't think it'll go because my cocoa hutch is kind of like gingerbread theme, but I want to put them everywhere. I just love them. But thank you so much for joining me today, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and thank you for giving up a portion of your day to spend with me. It really makes my day, and I'll be talking to you in the next one. And like I always say, stay crafty. Bye, friends.